Hello, troopers. This is Mr. Nicholson. I've got a special story for you today. This is How Butterflies Got Their Name, a whimsical African American tale about the Earth's beauty. Told by Giles Ashbury and published in John Harrell's A Storyteller's Treasury. Read by Paul Nicolson. The Lord had just finished making the world, and he was sitting in his big rocking chair, admiring the work he'd done. But all of a sudden, he noticed that something didn't look quite right. This new world was kind of bare. About all there was down there was land, trees, bushes, and lots of water. So he set about figuring out how to make the world a little nicer. He called one of his angels and said, "Bring me my pruning shears." When the angel brought them, the Lord started pruning all the trees and bushes, and when the trimmings fell on the ground, they turned into the flowers and the grasses. He noticed that things were a lot easier on the eyes, and he leaned back in his chair and thought to himself, "Yep, I've made myself a mighty pretty world." After that, he went to take a nap because he was tired. It is mighty hard work making a world, especially when you're the first one to ever think of doing it. So the Lord took his nap, and when he woke up, he'd hardly gotten his feet out of bed when he heard some talking. He looked down and saw the flowers talking to each other. "It's lonesome down here," he heard them say. "We were put here to keep the ground company and to make things pretty, but it sure is lonesome." Boy, the Lord was upset. His world was hardly a day old, and he was getting complaints about it already. He had the feeling that he was going to have trouble with the world from now on. He yelled for one of the angels and said, "Hey, bring me those little tiny sewing scissors." When the angel brought him those little scissors, the Lord bent down and started snipping. He snipped all morning long. All you could hear both in heaven and on earth was the snip, snip, snip of those little bitty scissors. The Lord didn't care what he snipped. He snipped everything. Trees, sun, sky. When he finished, he went back to bed because he didn't want to hear any more complaints from anybody about anything. He even thought of staying in bed forever so that the world could handle its own complaints. Well, there were little snippets and pieces of trimming floating all over the world on the breeze. There were blue ones that had been snipped from the sky, yellow ones snipped from the sun, white ones snipped from the stars, and some that had colors no one could describe. When the people saw those little snippets fluttering by on the breeze, they called them flutterbys. There were yellow flutterbys, blue flutterbys, and flutterbys of many colors. They flew all over the place. When the kids saw the flutterbys and heard what the grown-ups called them, they had to laugh. Wasn't it just like a grown-up to twist his mouth up to say a word? So, the kids did the only right thing. They called them butterflies because butterflies is easier on the ear and mouth, and that's how a word is supposed to be. Well, grown-ups heard the kids calling the flutterbys butterflies and decided that that word made eminently more sense. So they started calling them butterflies too. And that's how the butterflies came to be and how they got their name. and that's why you always see butterflies around flowers, because they were made to keep the flowers company.